day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. We have got today not an emphasis on the top bots, I believe Iron isn't even in there, but the focus is on the sub-top and of course new bots being entered on the scene, so let's go and have a look what that's about. We've got one new one and one we introduced last week, so let's find out. And of course, the thing was, I've been visiting the Go project, or I have visited the Go project only once, and the Go project is at the University of Delft in the Netherlands. It's a project where about 200 students are working with brutal AI and superimpose on that a logic layer, so they don't have to do everything from start with either Java or C++ or whatever other language they choose to use, and I must say that the results have been pretty good. I got this game suggested by email by Dan. Dan, thank you very much. I always like to be kept up to date of all the good games that are happening, because I unfortunately have not so much time during the summer to watch all these beautiful creations play. This game, we've got Hannes Bradberg, which seems to be doing a nice bit of scouting with the... oh dear, and all the workers come off the line to come and kill an SUV which goes to steal a couple of minerals, and the Marines did nothing, so that's pretty interesting. And we've got Tommy Fang, Terran, which hit upon the stage a couple of months ago, has seemed to be stuck in development for a little bit, but we're going to see what it's going to do. And Hannes Bradberg is doing some very... well, he's tweaking the scouting mechanisms, but as you can see, this is not paused or frozen. The Marine is doing something, and the Marines are running in a sort of random direction, although this one seems to have a clear-cut path, but it seems to pause from time to time like a spider running almost. And the same can be said for this Marine here. I don't know what that's about, but Hannes Bradberg is doing something with unit movement. Earlier the Marines would scatter in all directions, and once they found an enemy they'd hit it and converge all upon it, whereupon if the enemy was killed here and the base not scouted, the units would move off in all random directions, of course having a higher chance to finding the base. And there we go. So Tommy Fang going for Medic Marine and Firebat and having some movement issues of his own. Hannes Bradberg having posted a Marine behind the natural of Tommy Fang, and Bradberg expanding. This Marine obviously having the same kind of problems that this one appears to be having here, although this one's still flapping about and this one is standing still, but another Marine is coming, or would be coming if he weren't stuck. And I can't see why this game was suggested to me. Oh dear, oh dear, nice building being built. And Bradberg is going for just barracks, going for an eBay. And more units being built, even a tank, and as you can see its tracks are still rolling, so it's trying to move up to here. Oh, and there it goes. So a nice Marine train is leaving, no shots haven't been fired yet. But Bradberg now retaliating with a sortie of his own, and the first battle has been joined. This is not a good battle formation, because all the Marines of Tommy Fangs die, and now it's tanks against Marines, but there are a lot of Marines, so eventually I think without medics and stim on the part of Bradberg's, that Bradberg can perhaps hold this attack, especially as he's having two bases instead of one. More barracks being built at this end, and this is going to be a World War I style with flamethrowers and a lot of Marines, GIs, kiting like the best of them, and it's just a beauty to behold, because Bradberg is moving out of the way of Tommy Fang, and Tommy Fang is pursuing this bit of Marines with a couple of tanks and bio, while this bit is being pursued now finally with some new medics which have caught up. Supply-wise, Tommy Fang is in the lead, army supply more than double, and with the medics I think he's doing pretty well. Nice prioritization of medics over Marines, and with the stim I think that Bradberg is improving rapidly. Also with Mcrave being added on, and upgrades flashing. I assume that's going to do him a lot of good. I don't know if Tommy Fang, no, hasn't got an E-base, so it's going to do one base something push, looks like. More Marines coming, Marines here, Marines there, Marines everywhere, and they are being shot to pieces, but in the long run it's a 2 versus 1 base supply. This kiting could be done a little bit better. Oh, this one's hidden, that's cute, but, well, I don't know. And from time to time, Redberg's Marines do a little bit of damage, otherwise they get pummeled by the siege tanks. Now taking the 3rd base, so I always fantasize on how it would be to just out-macro your enemy with pure Marines, and this seems to be a demonstration of that very concept. Tommy Fang supplying its push and is doing pretty well, but the number of Marines are increasing, ever increasing, and although the siege tanks are doing horrible damage and are not being engaged by the Marines, it's, well, you can sort of imagine how this is going to go. Ooh, they engage it, but there are still 4 tanks and with the bio, with medics. I don't know if Redberg is going to hold this eventually. Minerals are still pretty high, gas pretty high too, because he's not building any gas units whatsoever. All the infantry the Marines can deal with pretty handily, but the tanks are something, a class of its own. And now Fang has taken another base, but it looks like he blocked off his factory units, so only bio can get out, and there are still 4 tanks out on the map. But I think that once these 4 tanks have been killed, ooh, even Marine coming out to help, it will be only bio against bio, and as all the production of Tommy Fang is behind these walls, I don't know how that's going to pan out. Another 2 bases taken by Redberg, but now the siege is on, and there are a lot of stimmed Marines. Look at that, these are stimmed Marines and firebats, and the production of Redberg is being engaged. So, yeah, there we go. The tanks in the rear, still 4 of them, and more Marines, but as you can see, 4 tanks now caught behind this nice wall of Tommy Fangs, and Fang is about to reach the... no, the natural's gone already, about to reach the main, and oh dear, Tommy Fang, hey, that's a factory, that's interesting, but the production capacity is severely limited. And trying to rebuild frantically, but the Marines are still being denied entry to the main base. That's pretty good. But now the tanks are here, and although, ooh, 1 tank dies, 2 tanks die, and Redberg has held, and immediately the barracks are being rebuilt because Redberg's got a lot of money, and Tommy Fang is, oh, that's a factory outside of the main base. Of course, all these tanks mulling about, SUVs here haven't mined out. Going to transfer, ooh, that's nice. But as you can see, Redberg is now rolling over the map with a huge army of Marines. It's like the movies of Starship Troopers, of course. The book is much better, featuring also spaceships and whatnot, but the film is just so cheap, it just fancies a lot of people running around screaming and waving their prop rifles. And now Redberg is on the move, but I don't think it's a really good idea engaging such an army and with only Marines. Look at the bloodbath, it's incomprehensible. It's like the Battle of the Sun, but Redberg being undeterred, taking all the bases. It's got the tech, everything. It's got a starport. I thought I saw one here as well, but for the moment he appears to be using the science facility only for more upgrades. So 3 Marines without medics against all kinds of tech, and no factory units being built outside the base. And oh, the wall has been broken. So now perhaps Redberg is in a bit of a fix, because these tanks will roll over him like a clover, and they'll do it again and again. Look at all these tanks, poor Marines. How do you ever beat a mechanized army like that with only Marines, even if you've got the entire map? And that really is the entire map. Look at all the barracks, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And let me open the production screen for the moment. He is producing 40... oh no, it's the army tab. It's 40 Marines active at all times. And this is the production tab of Redberg. It's producing about 15 Marines at the time. Of course, these tanks are not being engaged, so that will be a problem in the long run. But basically, all the minerals in the map are being converted to. Look at here. He's even building a barracks here. That's crazy. Tommy Fang, of course, with 3 bases, doing quite well as well. But I don't think the tanks, they can't make headway because there are so many Marines being sacrificed all the time. All the bio units of Tommy Fangs are being shot to pieces by all these Marines. The entire minimap is alive, and the worker count of Redberg is 80, and the army count is only 40, but it's all Marines, and they're being produced at the rate of which they're being shot to pieces by these tanks. And even this barracks will probably fall in the near future. But these tanks, well, if these tanks were ever to die, I think that Tommy Fang would be in a bit of a problem, because it's only got 3 bases, walling in another bunch of units here. That's unfortunate. But these tanks are so strong, and they have been untouched for all this time, and the Marines don't really dare to come to grips with them. So thank you, Dan, for supplying me with this game. The kill count must be absolutely horrendous, and I am sort of sorry that I don't view this in Brood War itself, because I could have seen how many units would have been lost, or are being lost at the moment. Gas count for Bradberg about to hit 1k, so that's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's about to going on. Let's see what's going on here. As soon as these minerals are mined out, if the SCVs are going to relocate, I think they will. But, well, as you can see, yeah, there they go. They're going to transfer to here. Oh, that's going to be a huge explosion. And the tanks are still doing work because, oh, one's been shot at. That's very good. This one's slightly damaged as well. And Tommy Fang has now mined out. So, for the time being, it's Tommy Fang's 130 supply versus Bradberg's, well, it's got an army supply of 14. Production, it's Bradberg's mining out because all the SCVs just queue up to the next base. But Tommy Fang is dropping in supply, it seems. This one tank down, another tank down, and that's the end of the tanks. It's only got 30 army supply now, and that's all caught here. Now there is a wave of Marines engaging the main base, and that will allow Bradberg to collect a critical mass of Marines. And once that happens, as you can see, the army supply has been about 40 all game long, and now it is hitting about 100. And that's always very nice. As you can see, no longer 15 Marines being produced, still a barracks being produced, and it's got 120 Marines, and that was the game. So GG to Bradberg, doing this in, well, not really Sparta style, but more like Zergling style with Marines, and I'm going to hop into the next game. It is a game of the University of Delft, the Go project. And these are first year students which have had 1 previous course in Prologue, and then are being grouped with 4 or 5 others in a group project to build a Brood War AI bot. Also, they've got to do teamwork. Ooh, and ProMass24 looks to be doing a gateway, proxy gateway. All the while this scouting is going on, and this is going to be a gateway in the base here. Proxy 2 gate, pretty strong. Oh, and worker defense, taking 2 on a goose chase. 1, oh, it's going to work. And one thing that should be noticed is that the APM of these bots is pretty low. Basically, goal is an AI layer on top of Brute War AI, and the basic is that these bots have got percepts and beliefs, so they integrate what they see upon beliefs and then act accordingly to that. Yeah, that's basically it. It's a proxy 3 gate. I have never ever seen that. Army-wise, ProMass24 a little bit in the lead. Group 8 is going to camp these minerals here, it looks like. So, for the time being, it's a Zealot versus Zealot thing, and oh, here come the Zealots of Group 8 going for the main base of ProMass. ProMass, on the other hand, is going for a base trade, oh, and going to catch a couple of Zealots. So, yeah, the Zealots of Group 8 are coming back to defend, but ProMass seems to have things well in control. 10 versus 2 army supply, and ProMass doing a successful proxy frigate. GG, I'd say. So this is about 4 weeks' work of about 6 students, which have hitherto not seen StarCraft Brood War or not seen Brood War AI being done, so I think that's pretty okay. You can do a basic build order to fight the enemy and kill him, and doing so pretty comprehensively is a bonus. Pylons being built, and that's about all that's being done in this game, so that's the GG. And while I put in the new game, it's glass Vliesel snippers. It's glass fiber shards or something, and spelled wrong in Dutch. Versus Thomas 2G, and Thomas 2G I think is going to do a 4 pool or something like that. Yeah, there we go. Tried and cheesy. Oh, and the other end is going to do a 5 pool, so perhaps glass fiber is going to come out ahead, even though its pool is a little bit later, but yeah, there we go. Could have snuck in a couple of drones as well while this is going on, but for the time being it's just basic build orders. But the interesting thing, when I visited the project last Friday, because I had to work in a city near that in the evening, so I dropped by and made some pictures, asked some questions. I'm going to do a little write-up on the Gold project because it's very interesting, and it is the biggest Brood War AI project on any university ever in the history of Brood War AI. Now we have got a handful of Zerglings being saved by Thomas 2G, and the Zerglings being built as well by glass Vliesel snippers. Oh, that's glass Vliesel snippers, it's a good name in English. And the Zergling battle is on, and it looks like that the Zerglings of glass Vliesel snippers aren't attacking, so Thomas 2G coming out way on top. Not really much being built. Glass Vliesel snippers build an Overlord, and Thomas is, I think, building an Overlord. But the combat micro of glass Vliesel snippers is not really up to that of Thomas MG. And it looks like only now the Greenlings are attacking. So attacking wise there is still a lot to be done. As you can see, the combat is not really very fluent, but Thomas 2G seems to have the upper hand, killing all the lings, and the pool will be down soon too, so yeah, there go the last couple of lings, and I think the drones are going down as well. So basically it's working, the build orders are working, and they have written these bots from scratch with a little bit of help from the Gold project. So yeah, that's the game. Okay, so what I should say about these team names, the team names are that you may choose a new name every tournament there is, and every week there is a small mini tournament. The students will have to reach certain goals. They were playing at small maps first. I don't know if this is a small map or if they got a smaller map still. I think this is a small map with only 2 starting locations. If you've got a bigger map with 4, you've got the scout better. But now you can just run over to the enemy and know where you'll find him. But they were allowed to choose a team name as long as the teaching assistants and the professor knew what it was, which team was called, which team spots was called, whatever thingy. But it was really interesting to see 200 people working on Brood War AI together. It was a huge building being occupied in total, and about 20 teaching assistants running about, helping them out, and guiding the project. Oh, this is very good. It's a worker harassed by Group for Zerg, and ILMIO Reborn. Going to do, looks like, a bit of a cannon build. And a lot of work is being killed by this one SCV. At the Terran end of things, Group for Zerg. So let me tell you more about the Gold project, because I interviewed some of the teams, and some of them have got logos, they've got banners, and all kinds of crazy stuff which you would expect from students. But the enthusiasm was really heartwarming, because it was so absolutely awesome. This Protoss going for a lot of cannons, or 3, and then a gateway. And at the Terran end of things, it's Marines being built, and then it looks like a factory. So tech-wise, doing pretty okay. and the scouting or harassing SCV finally being killed. So it's a 2-gate with a lot of cannons and a core, so build order wise it's a little unorthodox, but it's okay. If this is going to be a citadel, yep, I think I know what's going to come. Because I was also going to compare the Gold project to other university projects which I have seen. There was a small project at the Technical University of Denmark, which was called DTU, Danish Technical University. There were 3 teams doing Protoss and they all rushed to Dark Templar, so we dubbed that the Dark Templar University of Denmark, or the Dark Templar University. The vultures are not kiting, that's certainly unusual. Will we see one more? No, it's now going to be all about this. The defensive position would be okay if only there was some kind of detection, and as you would expect from a new project, abuse of Forpool, Marine Rush, Dark Templars is going to be extensive, and more Dark Templars being built. They are not being moved over because these two here seem to have things well under control, killing all the combat units first and being quite effective at that. These Dark Templars are not going to be sent over. I don't know why. There are about 8 now. But these 2 Dark Templars have got everything in hand, and that's it. So I think next week or the week after is the closing date of the Gold project for the first year, and well, the tournament is... oh dear, they are not really scouting all that well. Will they find it? Looks like not. And as you can see, the game doesn't really time out, because now Protoss is mined out here. The units are not finding one another, and that was pretty much the game. So, last game, it's called We Just Spam Zealots, and I have visited this group. It was pretty awesome. They told me not to betray their strategy, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to let you see for yourself what they are doing or are going to do. And we've got Group 4 Zerg again, the Terran which we saw build tanks, vultures, Goliaths and Marines earlier. So perhaps this might be a pretty good game. But as I was saying, about in a couple of weeks' time the Gold project will end for the first year, and they're going to make all the software and all the documentation open source. Well, it is already, but they're going to update the documentation a little bit so it's more accessible. And other universities are invited and hereby by me encouraged to do a Gold project of their own, because it was very stimulating to see, to watch these students do a group project, and they could pretty well use their knowledge of Prolog and computer coding in general to oh dear, that one lives, to make pretty decent bots. And Brute War AI being the beauty that it is, you can very easily see what's going on. It's a very complex game, but with the goal layer, abstraction layer, it's very accessible. You don't need to spend an awful lot of time rummaging about with C++ or Java. Of course, Mcrave could do a little bit of touching up, but as this is 4 weeks in, I believe, it's pretty good what we are seeing here, and just the scale of things that is awesome. And also with the group project, you can have one member being... I spoke to one group and one member was devoted to Micro, the other one to scouting, the other one to the economy. And there was also one whose job it was to put back all the information, all the code he got from the team members, clean it up and make it a little bit manageable. So that's actually pretty nice to see, and I think if this is going to be continued and be taken over by other universities, it's just very much fun, and it's a low investment in labor and documentation. You can get all the stuff from the Delft University, and I think that I'd be really happy as a university to be able to offer a course like this, because you just you begin with a course on Prolog and Logic, which you are going to do anyways in a computer science bachelor's or whatever, and then you can use this beautiful group project to do things like Scrum and Agile and cooperation, and it's very low level and it's very visible what you are getting in return, because it's well, it's just the perfect combination, the perfect storm of AI, teamwork, and fun. So that's very the students were so highly motivated, all of them. It was really fun to see, and also the competition element, because every week they run a small tournament. They've got 36 teams, and they can see who is best or what works or whose cheese is smells the rottenest, and it creates a beautiful atmosphere within your first year and within the class. So I really like to see that, and I hope it's going to be picked up by other universities and to be continued next year. Of course, I've got some pictures and more information which I'll write an article about, but didn't really have the time this weekend to do just that. But the Gold project is certainly worth watching, and now Group for Zerg seems to have gotten the advantage, and all my talking about the Gold project is pretty much done. So Group for Zerg with a beautiful one base is doing quite well, and that is the game. So without further ado, let's introduce another new player. It's called Anders Hein, and Anders Hein is a Protoss, and we are going to find out what it does. I pitted it against Zakov, and Zakov is a Terran of, well, also relatively newcomer, hasn't received updates in a while, but is still a good choice to pit a new bot against. Now going for a 2-gate, couple of Zealots, 4 Zealots not attacking. At Zakov's end of things, it's a barracks and an academy, and oh god, stop, sorry. It's a Marine, it's a huge game of tag, with Zealots chasing them all over the map. I think Zakov could do with another barracks, is building that now. More Zealots being built, and I think they're being sent out in groups of 3 or 4, and running the map. It's just a huge blundering mass of Marines. Zakov going for the expansion, Anders Hein just doing things off 2-gate with a bit of pylons to back it up. And I think it's going to be pretty effective if the Zealots, they catch a medic, and now they're going after the SCVs. So thank you for the medic to bring all the Zealots into the SCV line, and these Stimp Marines are not fighting. Well, it's pretty hard to fight this mass of Zealots, but I think something could be done, or should be done, in the way of shooting, because you've got that rifle for a reason, Mr. Marine. Obviously that's not really the case. Zerg is prioritizing the medics, more Zealots being streamed in, more pylons being built, all of 2 gates. Anders Hein's entry into the scene is pretty decent, and Zakov is struggling to fend off these Zealots, but it's not really working at this point. And every time these Zealots see a medic, they will chase it, all of them, and that's pretty cute. But it's not really the most effective, because all these Marines are still mining, and the Marine numbers may one day be great enough, but let's see. So medics being killed all over the place, Marines being virtually untouched. As you can see, the army supply of Zakov is about 40. Now the Marines are fighting back because they have gained the critical numbers, and the army of Anders Hein is being decimated, and this wave of Marines is now making its way across the map towards the enemy base. And as you can see on the minimap, they sprawl out, and it's almost like Anders Bradberg. I've got to check what that's about, because there seems to be a connection between the two. And if they see the enemy, they all converge upon the enemy to kill it. And now they'll have a better chance to make it up the ramp, scouting wise. Yep, there we go. And now once they found a building, they're all coming up to kill it. Yeah, there we go. And now they've found the enemy. So that's the exact same thing that Hannes Bradberg is doing. So Zakov and Bradberg may have a common ancestry or a common theme, a common idea. A building placement, a little bit wacky but functional, nothing being blocked in, of course, no. And that was the game. So Anders Hein, valiant effort, but might be a little bit more effective, but still work to be done. Welcome to the show! And the other thing I wanted to show you is a couple of updates by the new Protoss, one of which is Mcrave. And Mcrave is going to take on Icebot, because I thought, well, if you can beat Icebot, you're a long way you're making good progress with Brute War AI. Because Ice Labs is one of these university projects from a long time ago, 2011 till 13, or 10 to 13 I think. It was also a group project, a little bit longer than most. The members have worked on it for years, done multiple papers on it, so that's pretty well done. And it still shows, because it's very refined, it's very robust, and it is the only bot still which actively uses high ground. So placing a tank on the high ground, and as you can see, it is a nightmare for goons to venture in there and try to beat Ice on its perch. 3 tanks, 1 bunker, a very late command center, but I don't know, you have to have some logic to surround that. You can hit it with zealots, but for AIs that's pretty hard to do, and it's just as these other bots like Mcrave in this instance doesn't really have a concept of high ground or how to deal with that. It has got tremendous issues of attacking this fortified position of ISIS. The fortified position of Ice bot, I should say. Because otherwise it's like the Islamic State, which it is not. Mcrave, macroing like champ, has got quite a number of goons, doing pretty well, going for some Reaver tech, going for a shuttle with I think a Reaver in it, and then you might think, well, perhaps he's going to drop a Reaver on the high ground. That might be a good idea, a couple of zealots, they could run in there and kill the lot of it, at the cost of 400 minerals. But no, it's going to be a frontal assault, and this is like the Guns of Navarone, where the Guns of Navarone hadn't been taken out of commission, and it's a bloodbath or a goon bath. It's a lot of blue soup, and that's it for the moment. And the Reavers being dropped and made to fight as infantry, that's not the most efficient. Ice still holding strong, killing the depot, and not taking a natural yet, but these tanks are holding so strong, and every time Mcrave is coming in to fight that, now on 4 bases, it's going to be a bit of a bloody mess. So, yeah, there we go. Command center being taken, bunker being rebuilt, Ice knows it's under pressure somehow, and these tanks on the high ground are really doing numbers. Every time a Terran unit moves out to here, it's going to be, oh, a nice storm. Ice is trying to move out, but the unit advantage of Mcrave's is so great, now taking its 5th base. Even only 1 base has been mined by Ice to try and contain Mcrave. But we've got High Templar, we've got Reavers, we've got Zealots and Goons, but this tank position and these tanks in the rear are just doing so much damage, it's not really feasible to break out and try to kill that. The Templar, oh, we've got an Arbiter now too. So you can see Mcrave is doing really well on the macro department. It's got some tech, it's got a lot of forces, but this is just, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's really messy. It doesn't really commit with the zealots. They keep mulling about in this area, which ooh, that SCV is particularly dead. So yeah, there you go. Whoa, that was about 5 storms and 1 SCV. Could morph a couple of Archons, could drop something on the high ground, and that only shows you that the defender's advantage for Terran is actually insane. But you could just ferry over units here, waste all this. Ice is going to mine out its main, and now going to attack the Zealots, break this bit of the tank line, but these Zealots could have run in and done a lot of damage. Ooh, that's a nice storm, but ooh, and that's not a nice storm. But these tanks are still untouched somehow, and only if there's going to be a very clutch storm to take out most of these tanks, oh, they're going to be repaired, all of them. And lots of storms on 1 unit. Mcrave, although taking yet another base, is, I think, not going to be able to break this. If Ice is going to get out of its base, I don't really know. As you can see, it's just Ice sacrificing units here and Protoss sacrificing units a couple of centimeters to the south, and the tanks are doing so much damage because at 8 times the speed, all you can see, oh, now they're moving out, so either Mcrave is going to suffer, or Ice is going to make its way out of the base. Oh no, the tanks have come back, so they thought for a minute, well, let's go on the offensive, but then thought, well, let's not, let's defend again. And because all these bases have got a high ground main, a low ground natural, or very many of them, it's a good thing to know what the high ground is, put a couple of tanks up and GG, because these tanks must have hundreds of kills between them. That's really a sight to behold. And there we go. Tanks all over the place, storms all over the place, another base taken. Mcrave is mining out the map, but isn't able to break this position here. And sorry Mcrave, because I wanted to show you what a wonderful bot you were, but well, you can't just do it with pure macro. And although you're doing atrocious amounts of damage, and ice is now on only gas of the natural and the main, if you are mining the map out slowly and surely, you're not touching these tanks, and that's kind of critical. At 32 times the speed, it's just going to be a constant killing pit here. Some units are standing around here, which could be, well, it's not going to happen. So I don't have a score screen anyway, so let me end this game here right now. And let's hop into the next game. We've got Zer versus Mate Istnik. Istnik, we all know him, and Zer just pushed an update. It's growing to be a pretty reliable piece of AI, and let's find out what it's going to do. Hatchery first, into gas, into a pool, not too many Zerglings, into Hydra Den, and a lair, some kind of a Hydra timing, and even a Spire. So, first couple of meters being built, not much in the way of action happening all over the map. Istnik going for its nice first one base push. Zer sitting behind two very well placed sunkens, and two hatcheries might build another hatchery for more larvae, but the build order so far is solid. Of course, if you are going for a 2-base Hydra, you had better do some Hydra 2-base Muta. You better do something with Mutae, because otherwise you just... Oh, and all the units are moving out from Istnik, and the mineral line is exposed. 1, 2 SCVs, couple of SC4, 5 SCVs being killed, lots of damage being done. The mutant micro is pretty good. Must be said that Istnik's defense isn't really all that top-notch, but the push of Istnik is sadly thwarted, and all the anti-air is being slowly dismantled. Look at the micro, but now these mutas are taking... Oh, they are very low indeed, and now it's up to the mutas to kill the tanks before they stomp in. Oh, there we go. Only now another hatchery being built, and it's going to be siege tank versus one lurker, and well, siege tank love one lurker. Oh, and now the infantry is coming back. Damage has been repaired here. And ooh, the mutas do a lot of damage to the tanks. They save the day. Oh, one tank left. 2 sunkers being rebuilt. The tank being pushed to the rear for repairs. One lurker, but it's too far back in the rear, and there is a scan. But perhaps with the sunken and the mutas, Zer may yet hold this. Although there is a lot of bio, all the mutas die, and although there is one lurker over underneath that overlord. I don't think, yeah, that's the natural, and Istnik is about to take a natural uptone. So Istnik very good. This one lurker doing a lot of damage. Now with the scan, I think it is... Oh, there's only one comsat, is there? So perhaps with the next scan it's going to go down. Yep, there it goes. And now Istnik is going to have its way with Zer. Zer's a little bit... I'm not all... Yeah, if you're going to do a 2-base muta play, you must harass, move out, then macro behind that. But Istnik is a very reliable opponent, and that's why he's still on the server, because he's just a benchmark bot to play against. If you can beat Istnik, you're doing pretty okay. If you can beat Ice, you're very much able to take on the big guys, and after all these, after 3 or 4 years, these bots still set the standards of the level of play of brutal AI. Unfortunately, not really finding the main at this time. Zer taking back its natural, but here comes the Terran War Train, and now going into the main base. Yep, there we go. And that's that for the moment. Also received an update by Lucas Moravec, and Lucas is going for it seems like, to play Steamhammer. Steamhammer has been updated all the time as well, so Steamhammer's going to be pretty good. But the same can be said for Mcrave. Going for a 2-gate, it seems like, with a pylon. A little bit of Zealot harass, that's always a good idea because the pool is pretty late. A couple of Lings coming, but not before a couple of swipes having been taken at the natural hatchery. And now it's a bit of a standoff between a handful of Zealots and a handful of Zerglings. The Zealots don't really want to engage, and Steamhammer behind this taking another hatchery. So that's good potential for harassment. Gas being taken by Mcrave, and Mcrave going for a handful of more Zealots. So it's a group of Zealots versus a group of Lings. The Lings seem to be more aggressive. Zealots losing a lot of hit points, and the occasional drone is popping up. So for the time being, Steamhammer on 12 workers versus the 18 on Mcrave, and Steamhammer is going to take its time, slowly expanding, building a sunken, I think, rebuilding the worker, building more Lings. So it's a lot of Zerglings versus a lot of Zealots by this time. And that's going to be, I think, a core. And another sunken. So sunken placement of Zer I found decidedly better with the 2 sunkens in the front. And a worker count of a Steamhammer is keeping 12, so it's not really making a choice at this point, but as the Zealots are very reluctant to fight, I think with Zerglings you can get a lot done. It's almost like mimicking a TSCMU build, but TSCMU is a little bit more aggressive, just squeezing in the occasional worker once every so often, a little bit sooner. And the Zealots just don't want to fight. Only when they reach their main base they are fighting, and they're doing quite a good job at that. By now Steamhammer has built a couple of more drones, built a spire. So the question now is, will it be more Zerglings? Because the worker count is rising, you can build more Zerglings if you've got bigger economy. But the Zealots and the Goons are doing a number on these poor Zerglings, look at that. More Zerglings are coming, worker count has again stabilized for Steamhammer, and doing I think it's going to be a Hydra Den and a Spire all at once. And that's really, you could do with more workers, because you've got 3 bases, the Protoss is contained, build a round of workers, and by the time this Protoss army has moved up to here, you've got another round of units ready for the larvae will have respawned by then. Hydra Den, I think this must be a Spire. Yep, there we go. And the standoff is continuing. I think Mcrave isn't really able to get any kind of tech up. Is trying to now, so that's good. But army-wise, it's not really convincing, and Steamhammer is making a lot of Lings and going to push back the Protoss army once again. Worker-wise, it's a 24 now, so that's decent. The question is, which units will now be built instead of Zerglings? Or will the Zergling train just bring home that couple of Zealots and overrun the enemy? Couple of Goons and the Zealots. The Zealots are so effective against Zerglings. The Zerglings run back because they think, well, let's not have anything to do with all these rallies. Another base being taken by Steamhammer, that's good. But Steamhammer isn't really committed on anything, to anything, and now we've got a handful of Mutas coming up, but the Zergling pressure has abated. And we've got 4 Mutas, no Zerglings. Protoss is still breathing, isn't really expanding. So that's going to be an issue. The Mutas are going to flap about here, while the Hydras are going to flap about there. Mutas don't really do anything, because there are Goons, there are Cannons, and the Hydras don't really want to fight these Zealots. Their numbers are ever increasing, so could be something. But for now, Steamhammer sitting content on 32 workers. The Mutas are fighting Goons and Dark High Templar. Yeah, that's not going to work. Hydras are coming up, but versus this Protoss army, it's not really working. Steamhammer on a very low army supply. Only look at all this money. It's got a lot of what's it called again, larvae, but it's not really doing anything, and that's odd. It may perhaps have stalled or trying to build units. Oh, now it's building a lot of units. But the Protoss army is in the natural. Lings are coming out, but it's a little bit late. Although Steamhammer might just hold, but the Protoss units are so strong. They are so strong, but together with the Sunkens perhaps Steamhammer may hold another base being taken. But Lucas Moravec has gotten a natural of its own now with an Archon, and surely you can't with Zerglings and Mutas, you can't find Goons and Archons, surely not. This Archon is going to be pivotal for Protoss in bringing this back, and although Steamhammer has got the entire map, the Protoss army is moving back because it's being attacked from all sides, and perhaps this may give Steamhammer the chance to bring this game back. But now the last Sunken in the natural is gone, and although there are units coming in from all angles, the Protoss army is growing stronger and stronger. But the main is mining out. The main is mining out, so it will be one base versus the map, and then you need good army control, good micro to bring this home. No third. Oh, here comes the third for Lucas. And as you can see, only the Archon's getting low and the Goons are getting low. So if the Archon and the Goon die, it's going to be Mutas versus Zealots, and that's not ideal for Protoss because basically you're using your units for free. A couple of Templars are coming up. Ooh, and they spam all their storms on a couple of Lings which run off. But there are more Goons and more Templars coming up, so yep, for the moment it's looking okay for Steamhammer. Steamhammer building a lot of units, but the army supply is still relatively low, only 16 and most of that in Zerglings. What Steamhammer needs to do is gather up an army and attack with that, taking a lot of bases but not really mining at them. And that could do so much more with the money and the territory it's got. Going to speed it up just a little bit, because there goes the natural of Zerg, killed once again, but now Zerg is swarming with only 10 army supply, and it's just a huge dance of a handful of gateway units versus the map of Zerg. But Lucas Moravec taking the map, defending every outpost with a couple of cannons so it can't be instantly overrun. And Steamhammer is scrambling to get any kind of an army together. The army supply is now even below 10, and the Protoss army is just growing ever stronger. It's now at 73. It's going to hit the enemy bases. Now, once again, killing of the natural, hitting the main, killing a lot of workers, killing all the tech, and I think this is the end of it. I think this is the end, because without the tech, if you've got to rebuild all that, there are almost no workers left for Steamhammer. Steamhammer's got one more base, but the Protoss death train is 130 strong, and that's the game. So GG Lucas Moravec, very well done. Okay, quickly. I promised Grazio I'd do a game of him versus TSMU. I'll save that for next week, because I'm running out of time. I've got only so long for every broadcast, so it's very hard to put in all the cool stuff that's happened. So sorry Crazio, I'll save your game for a later date, because I'm sure it needs to be casted. It was about 2.5 megabytes, and 2.5 megabytes of TSMU versus Crazio is surely a sight to behold. Now, this game, again it's Mcrave, which fell to the cannons of Navarone of Icebots. Ooh, and these Zerglings of Eric Hammers are not really daring to venture in there again. As you can see, natural taken, very good sunken placement, or if that's going to be a sunken, yep, there it goes. Third being taken as well, worker count, okay, could be a little bit higher, but with a handful of Zerglings to contain, you've also got to watch out that there isn't a huge swell of Zealots pushing out, because it's a 3-gate, and a push with Zealots and Goons can be pretty deadly, even if you've got, oh that's nice, 3 Sunkens, behind that a couple of, that's not how you build tech buildings, going for some kind of a lurker build. Worker wise okay, but Mcrave is growing strong, and if you look at the army supply, it's still that original 6 Zerglings versus, by this time, 40 army supply of Goons and Zealots, and that's going to be a huge issue. Only now Eric Hammer built one more army, a Hydra, and a lot of Sunkens, and I don't know what that's about, because for the price of these Sunkens you could have built a lot of workers and a lot of army, and your army supply is only 5, so I don't know what that's about. Mcrave taking a third base, and only now, oh, we've got a lot of lurkers, but by this time we've got Reavers and Observers, and only now is Eric Hammer going to build more units, but that's so very slow. Look at all these Sunkens. If you've got 5 Sunkens, 6 Sunkens here, you don't really need anything there. Sunken here, okay, but not that much. And army supply-wise, it's 77 versus 27, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Now the Protoss army is being brought back, and the lurk. What the bloody hell is this? There is an Observer, but the lurkers are not being engaged, and that caused about 40 army supply of Mcraves to dry up. And it's just going to be an issue if you have got lurkers as your enemy and you're not attacking them, because it's going to be a bloodbath. On Eric's Hammer's side of things, more gas being taken, basically, oh, very quick hive. Perhaps going to hope to see defilers, I don't know. For the time being, I think with Reavers you should be able to hold a Portary army like this, but the lurkers are not being attacked for some reason, and surely this Observer must see them. I don't know what the... oh, there one, he got one on the nose, that's good. But in general, these lurkers are an enemy which Mcrave doesn't want to deal with, and as you can see, Eric Hammer is now overtaking the Protoss and army supply, and that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, because one Reaver would shut this down so hard. So hard, but the Observer is all over this, and still the lurkers are not being attacked, the Reaver is not firing, and finally the Reaver is going to... Reaver! Reaver, 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 Reaver. Nope. The Reaver is not firing. The lurker is not being engaged, the Reaver is not firing, the other Reaver, I hope, will fire. Mcrave doing pretty well, but is not fighting. Oh, and that was the first Reaver shot. The other Reavers move headlong into the lurkers without attacking, and that was the game, because the third is being hit, the main is out, and although Eric Hammer isn't taking any more bases, oh, it's building an Ultra, that's cute. But Mcrave has got some work to do, because earlier suiciding into ice, and although the macro is impeccable, look at all these units being produced, the tech is okay, but now the decision making and how to fight these units. The Templar will have Storm in a moment, so perhaps... yeah, that's what it is like to play Protoss. Ooh, that was everything damaged and everything hurt. Most of the lurkers are dying already, and that's not from being targeted directly, but from collateral damage. This one Reaver is really doing the damage. Base being retaken, this base untouched. Mcrave still in a pretty good position, because Ultras it knows how to deal with, and I think all the lurkers, oh, there are some lurkers still, but a couple of more storms and this Zerg army is going to die like fleas. Look at... ooh, that was not a great scarab, but the mutas are out. And Eric Hammer could really do with another base, because his main is not really getting low, because it's got so few workers. Protoss should not... oh, no, oh, please. That was so painful, because this Observer, what is it doing? The entire army just suicided itself on 2 lurkers. The Observer was watching it all, and now Zerg is all over this. And this is the game. Surely this is the game. Eric Hammer with only 3 bases and only 5 army supply, 15 minutes into, or 10 minutes into the game, is now decimating Mcrave. And this was this week's broadcast. This was the Student StarCraft AI tournament. I'll put in, I'll write you an article about the Gold Project at a TU Delft in the Netherlands. If you like what you see, come and visit us at our website. You see it in the bottom right. You can watch these bots play 24/7. You can learn to play against them, and you can also learn to code these beautiful monsters yourself. Thank you very much for watching. A lot of work has been done this week, more work has to be done, but we'll be back next week with another broadcast of all what's happening in the beautiful world of Brute War AI. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.